Bazball England notching up 108 for 3 in the first session. And Johnny Bairstow looking very confident out in the middle on his first, you may say, home turf, because he had played for Sunrisers Hyderabad for many years. 3 years he played with them in Uppal. But the start that Ben Duckett and Zach Crawley gave, it was typical England's approach of how they were going to go about it. 28 overs, just 2 maidens in that. Ravichandran Ashwin, the pick of the bowlers, with 2 for 20. Then Ravindra-Jadeja getting one to absolutely ensure that Ollie Pope was the only guy who looked like a walking wicket. But otherwise, you may say Crawley threw his wicket away. Duckett was undone by a brilliant ball from Ashwin. And Ollie Pope, poor technique, which ensured he just popped up a catch to first slip. And Root and Bairstow has steadied the innings since then.
Okay, one by one, I have 4 or 5 questions and we'll try and address all of those. Starting with the toss, how's it looking? 108 for 3, end of the first session for England. Good toss to win?
Yes, absolutely. I think they had the better use of the conditions, because you already saw so many deliveries from Ravindra-Jadeja spinning about 2-3 degrees, pitching on a good length on middle and off, spinning sharply away.
Some were pitching on middle and leg and turning sharp.
Akshar Patel also, if you look at it. If you look at the deliveries that got rid of Pope and you look at it, Duckett, they didn't spin much. It was just straight deliveries. Duckett, as always, at left-hander, that drift that Ashwin gets, the dip, he was strapped plumb in front. Although umpires call on because of the bounce factor. But apart from that, Crawley was the only guy who threw his wicket away. Because that's the baseball thing. It's spectacular or it doesn't come off well. But great use of the conditions. I would say it was 108 for 3. The problem is the fast bowlers didn't bowl to the right lengths. Siraj in particular. Bumrah tried, but Siraj didn't bowl his deliveries well. Akshar created chances. Ashwin created chances. Jaddu attack, but he also leaked on. So I think the good toss to win.
I think India is definitely on the back foot now. India wasn't so much in the zone, I feel, and that time the English batsmen have definitely utilized that time. We were talking about 200, a good score. In the first innings, they have definitely reached the halfway mark. India, again, they've utilized the wicket to the fullest because they know it's just going to get worse from here. So England would be definitely really happy going into the dressing room at this point.
I mean, if you look at how their batters went about things, I think they knew that the wicket this is probably the best time you're getting. So if you won the toss, chose to bat first, you have to make hay while the sun shines. They were, of course, afforded a few dollies from Mohammad Siraj, who definitely looked very, very off colour. And that's the problem with Siraj. He'll either be in that zone where he'll get you 7 wickets, or he tends to leak runs. But even beyond that, they've mostly navigated the spinners well. I won't say there's been major problems. The only really good ball was the Ashwin one. Otherwise, you can say that, with Crawley, unnecessary shot, catch taken. With Pope, I mean, as Siddharth rightly points out, he looked like a walking wicket. He looked like he was going out at sea and he didn't know how to swim. But other than that, England's batters, I mean, if we look back at our score predictions, I had predicted the highest score when I said 90. 18 runs more than that, and having lost 2 less wickets than I anticipated, so they'd definitely be happy.
Do you think Rohit went on the fast bowlers a bit too long? I mean, could have got, I think 8 overs is what they
4 each.
Could have done. I mean, when we were watching the match, at least from here, I thought maybe after the first 2 overs, if I was skipper, I was going to be looking around as to should I be looking at a spinner now or not. Maybe it was prompted by the fact, and I'm not looking at the run so much that Siraj and Bumrah conceded, but it was a play and a miss on a lot of occasions. I think they missed more than 10 times, as much as I can recall, for both Bumrah and Siraj. So it looked like you were very close to getting a wicket. I don't know whether that prompted Rohit Sharma to continue, but I thought that was a bit deceiving. I mean, it was in the sense those edges were a bit deceiving. It may have given you some hope, but overall I did not see the fast bowlers. There was good carry to begin with, and I thought the ball was carrying. There was some bit of bounce there. Maybe it does something for the fast bowlers, but apart from those plays and misses, which probably we've gotten a bit not used to, because we watch a lot of white ball cricket where we don't see, but in test match cricket it's a norm. And so I do know that a few people are getting excited by seeing those plays and misses, but maybe then that was not the correct way we're watching, because we watch a lot of white ball cricket and suddenly you see in test cricket plays and misses, so you get a bit excited. But overall, if you see, I wasn't very hopeful of the fast bowlers doing well, so which is why I was a bit surprised that he went on a few more overs.
If you have to look at it, traditionally in these kind of wickets, in another era when Virat Kohli was the captain, you did see Ashwin open the bowling with the new ball. And there was a case in point for Ashwin to open, because Ben Duckett, left-hander. And you know his phenomenal record against left-handers. And he gets the new ball to skid also on these kind of wickets. And look at the Duckett dismissal. Even with an older ball, he got it to skid straight on. But the new ball, he could have gotten the bounce factor also. And I understand not opening with Jadeja or Aks, because see, England are going to open with a spinner and a pacer. Most likely it looks like that.
Has to be, no?
They have
because if Stokes is not bowling, who else will bowl?
No, I think they
two spinners
would surprise
also.
me if they open with two spinners.
Yeah.
It really would
Yeah,
surprise
oh, you're saying both spinners?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, they may
Because
go.
with Wood, again, his new ball record is not the best. And he's not someone whose bowling style is to try and get much off the deck or in the air. He's more hit the deck, he'll bowl his 150s, 148s. So I don't think you're opening with him.
So,
I'd be surprised. Two spinners,
Two spinners.
one fast bowler. I mean, this is what India could have done today.
Yeah.
Is
One
have a
pacer.
fast bowler with a spinner, and of course you could have rotated the two pacers, like a burst of 3 overs for Bumrah and the spinner on the other end, and then Siraj another burst of
Correct.
2-3 overs with a maybe the same or a different spinner at the other end. That's what I thought India would do. If not that, at least after those couple of overs that both had bowled by 4 over mark, you should have been going on to plan B. So I was a bit surprised. that
Same
he took
actually,
that
because
call.
I saw no movement.
Yeah.
There was nothing. There was nothing
Yeah.
off the deck.
No swing.
There was nothing in the air. There was nothing whatsoever. So the only reason conventional wisdom suggests you start with a pacer is because you might get that early movement. It might, and to be fair, you were right. There were a few misses or a few near edges, but I think those were deceptive for two reasons. One, they were mostly good area bowling, but there was no movement. England players were going for a shot and missing, but you expected them to go for a shot against the Pacers. So I don't know. I thought I would have brought on the spinners much earlier.
And why I say that, sometime, in test matches, I agree that you should be patient. And more often than not, when I look at a captain making decision, I'd rather be a bit more patient. But why I'm not too patient in this particular test match is because you know how test matches in India tend to pan out. And if you remember when we were discussing, and that's why I asked initially, is it a good toss to win? Because when we were discussing early, at least this is the thought that I had. What England will try and do is, with the two new bowlers, which said if they go to 50 odd without losing a wicket or so, 50 is what they would want to get to quickly, and then trust their remaining 10 batters or 9 batters, whatever, to get to another 150, which is what we thought would be England's plan. And guess what? That's exactly what their plan has been. They reached to 60 at a rapid pace, 50 odd. Then they had a bit of a stutter where they were 60 for 3 and then have kind of recovered. But I think they reached the initial bit at a rapid play. I don't think they had accounted for a fact of losing those 3 wickets in that quick succession, which happened for England. But I'm just saying, if you put that spinner bit earlier, because 50, quick fire 50, and you get there very fast, then you're 55 for no loss. This is where England were. And if those 3 quick wickets hadn't come, you're sitting here at 100 for 2 or something like that. You're getting 200 for sure. 108 for 3 also is a good chance they get there. They're already halfway there with 7 wickets in hand. Good chance they get there. But initially you had to push,
And I feel that India somehow did not expect this from the English side, England side initially. That's why now I still feel that Ashwin and Jadeja are not so certain about their lengths as of now. Just somewhat they know that this is a pretty good score. 200, 250 odd in the first innings would be a really good score. And this is clearly, I can see it from the bowling of Ashwin and Jadeja. And in fact, from Rohit Sharma's captaincy also, he doesn't have that attacking field anymore. The field is a little opened up. You can see both the spinners just push, keeping their lengths a little, not that over pitch. A little full. And that is clearly visible, and India was definitely not prepared. Now I feel that.
So I want to know, what were they not prepared for? Sorry, just what?
The counter attack from the English side. They thought that this would not be working here.
Why would they not be prepared?
They did not expect that it would work.
Bazball. England have been talking about bazball. They've not played anything else other than bazball. So why would you not be prepared?
India did not expect that it will actually work on these wickets. What I can make out of this first session.
It's actually, if you look at it, it's not. We don't know if it's actually working or not, because at the moment the way they have been playing is that they got bazball going when the ball was new. Initially, ever since the spinners have come, I do not see, to an extent, that bazball. I'd still say pretty decent, net run rate they're going. But let's say Joe Root at a 50 strike rate, not typically bazball. So he's mixing it up. Bairstow on the other hand with a 72 strike rate, I agree, still pushing it. But again, not like the 90-100 strike rate that we sometimes do see with bazball. It's not happening, which tells you that England will play bazball, which I think is smart. You play bazball when the situation allows you. Let's say with the new ball, not too much happening. You're playing bazball, which they did, 55 double quick time, that they reach in less than 10 overs or about 10 overs.
12 overs, yeah.
So 5 and over is what they were going. They reached that. But from there on, that net run rate is pulled back, which is fine, which I think is smart cricket. And if India weren't prepared for this, then I don't know what they were planning. I mean, this should have been the basic thing that you do, that they will attack, whether they will attack with sensibility like they are doing now, that when it's a completely good situation to attack with new ball, you do, and slightly pull back at a healthier 70 strike rate a little later, or between 50 and 70 strike rate. And that's exactly what they're doing. You should have been prepared for this. I would have thought that that's the basic approach that England would have had.
And I think even talking about England's approach, I don't think this was, or this, even if you look at the lineup, this isn't a front foot bazball team. It's not. I know you've got a Bairstow there. I know the openers, Crawley and Duckett, are guys who have been reinvigorated thanks to bazball. Both of them were one bad knock away from being on the chopping block, and they were done. But Baz came in, he invigorated or reinvigorated their test careers. But even if you look at the batting lineup, I mean, look, you've got a Root who I know has bought in fully into bazball, but I refuse to believe the Yorkshire lad has forgotten his fundamentals of Test cricket. Of course not.
That's first nature. That's first nature for
That's his first nature. And I think he also he had that one little life where early on he went for that sweep. He got bad at it. But I think
we're going to talk about that. Go ahead.
Even he realized that he's like, no, I shouldn't be trying reverse ramps here. Forget about it. So he's played conservatively and he's playing like Joe Root, which is great. But even if you look lower down the order, Stokes is someone who is situationally attacking. He's not going to be attacking every single ball. And you've got Ben Foakes. Foakes is someone who was dropped from the Test team despite being their best gloveman by a country mile because they preferred Bairstow, who would give them more attacking batting, but glove work could be patchy. It's not a coincidence they brought back Ben Foakes there. Yes, his glove work also helps, but his batting lower down in case they need to do salvage jobs. He's there. That's your man.
Okay, let's get to that Joe Root dismissal. Straight, whatever, he's trying to sweep the ball or paddle sweep it or whatever you say it. We all agree that it was a risky approach, and after that he's kind of become okay. He still swept the ball a couple of times, but that has been to deliveries completely outside the leg stump, which is the most sensible thing to do. So he's course corrected. But I think we can look at it. Shane says that there was bat. I saw the replay. I did not see any bat, and I think that's interesting. I want to know from your point of view as to what you thought of that dismissal. You think he had bat? No problem with that. It took a lot of time, by the way. It took about 5 minutes for that particular replay to come.
I think the systems have been rebooted in Uppal.
Yeah.
Whatever. What do you make of that?
I think there was a bit of an underedge.
Two reasons. One was because when they showed the front on replay, after it passed his bat, there was a pretty nice little deviation. So the ball course corrected. Second, I'll agree with Rohit's logic here. When he was asking for the review, Jadeja was very confident, which all bowlers will be. But Rohit said, "Arey bat nahi laga hota to itna dur jata hai." I'm like, okay, valid point.
Not necessary. Not necessary.
I mean, it's a batter circuit.
Yeah.
So that's why I said, yeah, I do agree with this point here. So it did seem like there was a bit of a deviation. I know what it is you're referring to as well, because the replay, when the DRS was showing, there were spikes on the replay, or there was spikes showing even before the ball kind of came.
Yes.
That I agree with.
So if you see the spike on the replay, now as you know that because it's very sensitive, it picks up any sort of noise, right?
Yeah.
Now when I see an edge, I see a very prominent spike, because that noise will be slightly more than any murmurs or anything with wind or anything else that picks up, because that's how sensitive the mic is. It has to be, because if it's trying to pick up a edge which is so faint that even players sometimes can't pick up, but the mic picks up, so it has to be a very specialized sensitive mic. But what is the downside of that is that it also picks up any sort of noise that is happening, which usually you and I probably wouldn't even hear. That, which is why if there is even wind which is slightly powerful in nature, it even picks up that. Or they could be your gloves touching each other, which is such a mild noise that you can't. It is picking up all of that. If you look at that replay, and that was my first impression when I saw it, because you have two different angles. So one where you could see actually when is it that the ball is reaching the bat, and the other, of course, which is showing you the side on and telling you where it is. When I looked at that mild spike had started to come much before the ball had even reached the bat. And even when the ball passes, the mild spike remains. My point is that if it had taken the bat, there should have been a more prominent spike at that time. So if it's picking up some other very mild sound, which is, as I said, could be anything, and it does happen. If you take a look at a lot of these dismissals, you will see sometime the fluctuation happen, and as soon as there is the edge, there'll be slightly more, and then sometime fluctuation. Sometimes it's a flat line. I agree. When there is no noise, it's a flat line. Fluctuation for the bat touching, again a flat line. But sometimes there is a slight fluctuation. That means there is some other noise around, wind noise or whatever, and then slightly more fluctuation when it's gone past the bat, so telling you it's touched the bat, and going back to that minor fluctuation. In this case, there's a minor fluctuation even before the ball reaches the bat. It crosses the bat, the fluctuation is at the same intensity. Even if it's gone past the bat, it's of same intensity, which is what is telling me that it's picked up another noise. Now, maybe what Shane is saying is right, maybe what I'm saying is right, but all I would have wanted from the third umpire is to spend a bit more time analyzing it. I think the umpire jumped the gun. He was very quick to call on. He saw the first spike and said, yeah, I'm satisfied, I've seen the I think there is an edge. Should have spent more time, because I did see those replays again and again, and it will make for interesting viewing. What all of you should do is, after this is done and everyone who's watching us, go see those replays again and again. I think that Joe Root is a lucky man to still be there.
That could be, because again, I think the reason why the umpire jumped the gun is because it took them 5 minutes to pull up the technology. I was worried.
Yeah. Uppal, anyway, if you look at it, if you go there, even as a spectator or anything, your technological devices don't work. There is such a big problem when it comes to net connectivity.
That is in every stadium.
No, in Uppal it is terrible.
No, it's in Arun Jaitley also.
You're right. That's because obviously
they have the signal jammer.
But I agree. But those are the problems that Siddharth and Shashwat face, because you are relying on your mobile network. For these kind of things, you have LAN cables laid out. These are not on Wi-Fi. So there have to be proper things that
like in the studio, 4G doesn't work.
In the press box, I clearly remember certain LAN networks in Uppal never worked. And there was a problem with also the bigger...
I'm surprised. This is that high-tech city. This is the city which contributes, I think, the maximum amount of IT guys abroad.
Exactly.
If you had to look, US, I wouldn't be surprised if the maximum number of IT techies that are in the US are from Andhra, Telangana, that state.
I'm telling you, even when we covered the...
And so that is having a problem.
2017 IPL, it was a nightmare for us to cover there, because the LANs did not work, your Wi-Fi's didn't work there. There is an entire technological problem in that particular area. You go for a radius of 2 to 3 kilometers, networks are jammed.
Okay, agreed. Now we can't solve that problem.
We can't solve it.
Agreed, there is an issue. So what? You finally got it. It took, most places it takes 30 seconds, here it took 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
But once you got it,
1 minute.
Aren't you supposed to do your due diligence, see it again and again?
Rather than just rush through.
Or you think he was under pressure anyway, itna time waste ho gaya, people quickly do it.
100%.
Quickly.
Yes.
That was the reason.
That could be a turning point of a test match.
Exactly.
I don't care. Spend 2 more minutes. It could be the turning point of the test match. Joe Root gets 100 here, done.
I mean, remember the last time we got 100 in India, they won the test?
Yeah, in Chennai.
And there was an interesting stat even you were telling me upstairs, left hand captains.
Oh yes, I mean the last two series that England has won in India, they have been captained by left-handers.
84.
David Garr, and you also had a certain Sir Alistair Cook, who was captaining at that time. So
And now
84
Ben
and
Stokes.
22. Now Ben Stokes is your captain, who's a left-hander. So I don't know. So that way, look, I mean, if that 5 minutes of delay hadn't happened, I think the due diligence would have been followed.
No, but I don't understand why. I understand overrates and stuff, but this is a test match that's going to be done in 2.5 days.
Yeah.
5 minutes wouldn't have made a difference.
And with these 3 spinners bowling, there's no problem over it.
28 overs done in 2 hours, which is rare.
And 28 overs done in 2 hours where you had a 5-minute delay for DRS.
Exactly.
If that hadn't happened, they would have gone past the 30 over
And
mark.
you even had the catch replay.
Catch replay also. So
What did you make of the catch? That I thought was out.
I thought that was dodgy.
Yeah,
Even I was going to mention
But I'll tell you
this.
what happens. If it was bounce, I'll tell you, go back. When it's a bounce, it'll be clearly visible. When it's a 50-50 situation, more often than not, the fielder is
The cameras were not
because
proper.
you cannot be because that angle is such.
Yeah,
Because
parallax
you're looking-
error.
from that height, whenever you look down, most things seem like that. But I tell you, in case of a bounce, because of that height, that bounce is even more pronounced. So if it is a bounce, it'll be like, if it's a bounce, there's no way you can miss it.
No, the camera clarity I'm talking about, it wasn't that clear.
I
cannot
agree.
be there.
But if you just go by the fielder, the way he takes it, if it is a bounce, it would have bounced a few inches. You'll see it very clearly because you're watching from the top. That's,
Top,
what I'm
yeah.
trying to-
That's a parallax
so you'll
error
see, yeah.
problem.
But when you see it like that, see he went like that in one motion. If it's a bounce, I thought that was clearly out.
No, I think it did bounce in the sense, but I think it bounced on his finger.
Yes.
So that's why I said, it looked a little shaky because obviously I don't think the shots did us any favor. It did.
Yeah.
I mean, watching it was so hazy.
It was very hazy.
It felt like a old 2000s or the camera phones first one we had. It was those kind of cameras.
2
But
megapixel
otherwise,
and all
I
that.
said, okay, benefit of the doubt in this case, actually always more often than not will go to the fielder. So I was okay with that. Really, it didn't really bother me.
Okay, yeah, he's showing it, but we need to see the replay.
See, that's what I was talking about.
There was a
but
clear
we need to see,
deviation.
we have to see the replay.
There is no side on.
When you see the side-on replay, that's when you get an idea. That
By the way,
did
root
not
is a
show.
very common word, so you might find root of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. See right now. See where can you see from your naked eye?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So see, there's hardly any spike. And this, if you see, even before the ball is reached, if you go back to where the ball was, let me show you. I'll just show you. I'll show you. Yeah, you can cut to this. So see, you see this minor spike, no? For here. Now see, you can see there's daylight between bat and ball. Can you see the daylight there?
Yeah.
This is what I saw. There's daylight and this remained. And what's interesting is, because you can't see it here, there's a shot, you'll see the ball is here. Okay, here, which is clearly visual, is not. Even there the spike is similar. If it was indeed an edge, is what I'm saying. If this is a minor spike, and if the ball when it was here also had this spike. See it again in the replay. There's this much spike even when the ball is here. So there's no chance. That to 100% not touching. And when it reaches here also, this kind of spike. See daylight there. And if it was indeed an edge, this spike would have gone even furthermore, like this, for that period. It has not. And see again here. See this. You can see the white of the pad behind to the naked eye.
It could even catch the voice of the handle too at times.
Yeah, that's why I think he's
it is a
lucky
matter
guy.
of frames. I mean, it's very, very 50-50.
But that's technology. That's technology.
That's the curse of technology, what you do. Because
Muhammad Hafiz.
any image that you take out of all the snow is, I think, it's not helping the cause, only complicating it a lot
I actually,
further.
rather than going by the screenshot, I want to see it because I remember, and I could be mistaken, is that when it went closer to the bat, there was a very slight spike. So again, I could be wrong. I will go back and check.
Those slight
No,
spikes
I know.
remain.
More than that.
No, so there's a very high spike. I think higher is when
it hits the...
No, when it's before.
It's
It's even a higher spike.
I'm
You'll
saying
see it whenever it comes. You will see that.
Yeah, I
spike.
mean, look, it's again, if you look at social media, if the Indian side will say they will peddle this. If you look at the British side, they'll say no, it will be like that only.
At least I don't think I am that.
No, I'm just saying.
So I'm not
on social
peddling
media.
anything. No, but I'm not even looking at social media. I'm just showing you pictures. Did we read any comments of social media?
I mean, no. Look at some photos. Look at the gap. It's increasing with every this thing.
So that's why I'm not paying attention to that.
Yeah.
But I could even in that
Magnifying
picture
that's why.
see that there was daylight between that. And those are the things that you see, right? Those are the things that you see. It's going to be interesting. What will happen is that we will also get to hear from a lot of folks on the ground, and then that will be interesting because we'll let's try and do a video on that with opinions of folks that were at the ground and what they made of. So okay, we've got a comment from Ravi Shastri. He says, I think Joe Root got lucky here. There is a gap between bat and ball, but the spikes were still there. The benefit of the doubt saved him. So that's it. That's what I'm saying. It's a debatable decision that's happened. Anyway, coming back to where the test match stands right now, we'll try and take a few questions, but I'll tell you, amongst all the batters that I've seen, Johnny-Bairstow has looked by far the best, and the reason why he's looked the best to me is because he's the only guy happy playing back foot. What is Oli Pope doing? Why did he get out? That ball, front foot, should not have been playing that ball. It wasn't definitely a front foot ball that he should have been done. Even if you look at Ben Duckett, his dismissal, his bat is much further ahead where it should be next to the pad. He's pushing at it. What that is telling you is you're trying to play that front foot sort of a thing and trying to avoid the ball turning much. Well, that's a philosophy, but I think they're getting it wrong. Bairstow, on the other hand, is taking, some might say, a slightly riskier approach of staying back in the crease and allowing the ball to turn. I personally like that approach. I like the Bairstow approach, which is why if you see, even with Akshar Patel, he's bowled a few balls which have turned, but he's also bowled a few which have been arm balls, which is his bread and butter, and quicker ones. And there have been oohs and ahs, but because he's playing so deep, it's allowed him that much more time to see that it's the arm ball, and he's fended them. Got a boundary on a couple of those quicker arm balls. Yeah. So to me, he's looking like the best batter. I know it's not an easy pitch to bat on. Yeah. You could get that delivery which has your name on it, won by, let's say, Jadeja, which absolutely turns square, and nobody could do anything about it. You could, but if he doesn't get one of those rare jaffas where the ball lands on the seam in a certain way, if he does not plays like that, he could be the guy who gets the biggest.
I mean, ironical, isn't it?
How so?
The guy who walked out of the crease so often is now batting way deep into the crease.
But he's learned a lesson.
He's learned a lesson.
But
thank you, Alex Carey.
This is the basic thing which is told to every cricketer, that play the spinner on the front foot, don't go deep in the crease. This could actually be against Bairstow also if anyone he just goes
that's
in.
fair, that's fair. But if you're playing on a pitch like this, okay, there's only two approaches you can take and both are extreme. Either use your feet frequently, which can be risky because if you get one that turns really square, you're doomed. Again, think back to that Rohit Sharma dismissal of Matthew Kuhneman. He used his feet. He got to the pitch with the ball, but because it spun so much, it didn't matter. You can either do that, or you can do what Bairstow is doing, which is also an extreme strategy. He's playing it very much on the back foot. I mean, his foot is this close to the stump, his back foot, and he's playing it very late. I mean, see, I've always said this, I've always found players who play spin on the back foot very easy on the eye. Because of course you have to have insane amount of timing, anticipation to be able to do it. Play those late cuts. It's a art. And Bairstow, there have been those oohs and ahs which the fielders have done, but otherwise he's looked in control. And if the strategy is working for him, I say go for it, because this is not the kind of pitch you're looking to get a daddy 100. Yeah.
And I also feel that the Indian bowlers, especially Jadeja, are bowling a little shorter, on the shorter side also. That is also because they want to contain runs now.
Yeah, and the other criticism that I'll have the Indian spinners, I thought at least towards the bit where the session was just ending, they were bowling a bit too straight. I think that, because we've often spoken about that stump to stump line is the one that gets you wicket, and you want to either trap it leg before wicket or, get them bowled. And this is a strategy that has worked for the Indian spinners, but I think they're overdoing it. That traditional way of going outside, if you're an off spinner, outside the off stump of a right hander, or even if you're a left arm spinner, you're bringing it into the middle stump and allowing it to turn. That's not happening. You're bowling straighter balls, even the left arm spinner straighter coming into it, whether it was Jadeja or Akshar, barring a few deliveries that turn. And same for Ashwin, I thought certain times he was bowling straight. Those should be your variation balls. Correct. The straight ones, and keep bowling those conventional ones, or maybe even try and give them that false confidence that, oh, you're not targeting us, and allow them to concentrate outside off or wherever, and then suddenly slip in that one. Instead, they're going the other way. Most deliveries have been straight attacking, and then as a variation, you're going with a conventional line. That I thought was.
Don't you think that is again because of the same reason that they know that runs are leaking? The only way to stop runs now is to take wickets.
But if you
maybe, but that actually leaks more run.
That is exactly what's happening.
Yeah. But to actually stop the leakage of run, you go back to that outside off stump line.
Exactly. My point is, if you know that you have conditions that are working for you, I'm encouraging my spinners to be as attacking as possible. And in the traditional test way, let Ashwin flight a few balls, let Jadeja flight a few balls. Let him try getting those conventional lines, as we say. If I'm Jadeja and bowling to a right-hander, I'll try targeting middle stump to get it turned away, not straighten and go for the stumps. Sure, you might be hit for a couple of boundaries, but aren't you going to get hit for a
I
couple
think
of
that's the
boundaries
problem
anyway?
now.
No, but I'll tell you why they're doing it. That's just my guess. I feel because you get so excited with how quick you're getting wickets.
Rank turn, basically.
Yeah, so no, as in like you've gotten used to when you're playing in India, and even in this test match, that every over that I'm bowling, I'm in with a chance to get a wicket. And bowlers by nature, in that sense, are hungry. Especially Indian spinners and Indian tracks are hungry for wickets, and they want more and more. And there has been occasions in the past where that has been happening. So I think when you're in that situation, you're like, no, I want one more, I want another one, and this over I'll get. So you're chasing that rather than going into the old way of where spinners would perform, as in, I'm patient, it'll come, and then it comes.
And then when it comes, it rains, it pours.
Yeah, but here you're like, no, quick. Let me get those wickets one after the other. Let me put them in trouble. Go back foot, get one ball. I think that is there. Maybe sometimes breaks help, where you go sit back and say, no. Take it easy, guy, 108. It's not the end of the world. Don't look at 200 or whatever. Because if you have that in mind, we have to restrict them below 200. That's when you keep attacking. They've already reached 108. I have to stop them before 200. They still have 7 wickets. I need to take quick wickets. Forget that. Just do your regular stuff, and the mistakes will happen.
I think because Test cricket originally is a game of patience, and if India shows a little bit of patience, I think England will start to crumble.
No, there is one more reason. I mean, Root and Bairstow, if you look at it, they're all back foot players, right? Primarily. The aim, I think, that the Indian bowlers, the left arm spinners are trying is that traditionally, if you are a back foot player, if the ball lands somewhere around leg stump and spins across, then you're in big trouble. That's the way how a back foot player can easily be dismissed in that sense. But they're not getting that much of purchase. Either the line is too full, the length is too full rather, or the line is slightly outside of the leg stump.
A little shorter, to the shorter side.
That's the thing. Now, if they can get a ball slightly on that good length area, just around the leg stump, it spins across. For Bairstow and Root, it will be problematic because either they'll have to defend it in the back foot, edge at first slip, or if they get an inside edge onto the bat, short leg will come in then.
Yeah, but
so they're trying that.
Do the approach. No, but do the approach you went with Crawley. I tossed it one up, and even if you're let's say naturally back foot player, like Bairstow is aggressive. So if you entice him in that area that I'm telling, he will go for a shot. He will come, and by the way, he's been using his front foot as well to deliveries the way he thinks it needs to be. So we entice him, he will play a shot too many, give you a wicket. But if you are going to just go wicket, I think he's found the right way to deal with it. I mean, this pitch, as I mentioned earlier, it can make you look stupid. You build a player so much, and the first ball after lunch is a Jaffa. You can't do anything about it. But I'm saying at the moment he's primed to succeed in this pitch because he's got the right approach.
Yeah.
So you move away from that plan.
Either they change the angle. See, I think what they will try is Jadeja is what they tried with Manas Labuschagne in the BG team. Labuschagne is predominantly a back foot player. They did the same thing, changed the angle, got it in, with the drift coming in, that's how it happened.
The problem with Manas, though, and this is where I said it's a poor comparison, is that he often comes across as an over against spin. I cannot say the same about Bairstow. Bairstow, even if you watch him in white ball cricket, the man can murder spinners on his day. I'll never forget what he and Jason Roy did to the Kulchar duo. Decimated them. And these are opening bats, by the way. They batted so deep, let the spinners come on, and they were going hell for leather. So even Jason Roy in white ball cricket is a guy whose spinners will be bowling to him, and he'll very effortlessly go for his reverse sweeps. He's confident. He doesn't get fazed by spin. Same with Bairstow. Bairstow doesn't look phased. In fact, I dare say of all the batters who've come out so far today, he's been their best looking, most assured batter. Even Crawley looked a little dodgy against the spin.
And you got one more
I mean,
coming
so
up.
duck it.
Yeah, you got one more coming up in Ben Foakes. He's your
Foakes
most
is another one.
assured player because he made his mark in Asia. So
Okay, Tanmay Joshi says, after so many years, enjoyed a session of Test cricket in India. Eventually, they will lose, but England is playing exciting cricket. I agree with Tanmay. And, you know why? Because there's been a bit of a push and pull between bat and ball. And that's what I enjoy. It's not just been one-way traffic.
Yeah.
I hope it continues. Still, the pitch is not ideal like day one pitch because it's still offering a lot of turn. But I'm saying better than what we've seen so far in terms of, let's say, England's approach and how they attack the new ball. And how now both Root and Bairstow are batting. And it's been a mini recovery. As I said, 60 from 3 could have been, downhill from there.
Yeah,
But
they've almost gotten up there a 50-run partnership and had a good clip.
Yeah.
So
just
they're doing
under
well.
4. They're just going at just under
3.86.
Yeah.
So agree with it. Next one.
Daniel M is like saying Siraj cannot
It's
bowl.
not Daniel A from Sri Lanka? No.
No.
Okay. From Australia.
Daniel
From
is from
Australia, yes. Siraj cannot bowl properly to left-handers. See head in WTC final and World Cup final. Root and Bairstow play spinners well, plus Bairstow plays IPL and he played IPL, yeah. He's his home has shifted to Mohali now. But yeah, Siraj to left-handers, yes, that seems to be a problem. It's a good point, Daniel. But he got the shot.
There was a time where he was very successful. That angle. And he used to keep talking about his angle and the cross seam deliveries. He takes it and he would get lefties to edge. But yeah, more recently, I think Daniel
Which is surprising. Which is surprising because he got the short ball tactic too late to head in that WTC final.
That wasn't just him. I mean, that's
Everybody got it.
team
Yeah.
error.
But the World Cup final, I was surprised that why he didn't get that much of purchase because that was a pitch tailor made for Mohammad Siraj. Like if you look at it, but it didn't work.
Okay, Prakasha says that, show the next shot which you showed on screen. There is no daylight and a bit larger spike and a visible deviation from the front foot. So that's why I said we'll do a video. Maybe we can show all those grabs as well as a few comments of what experts have said. So that's going to be coming up, right? We'll do that. Sarat Chandra says in Uppal network is worst. I stay in Hyderabad and looks like jammers plugged in and any network. I agree, but the network issue is in all stadiums. We are talking about for, let's say, the media and the broadcasters and all. There are different lines and those are LAN cables and fiber optics. All of that is put. So it's good internet, but maybe it's worse there compared to others.
It is.
But network, don't look at mobile networks. That's not a yardstick.
That's not the
Like in the studio, our 4G doesn't work, but the
Whose 4G doesn't work? Yours?
mine too doesn't.
Achha, we'll discuss your network off camera.
Off camera, yes.
Okay, GGK says India will score 400 on this pitch as raw England spinners. England all out this session. Interesting call.
Oh, his calls are always interesting.
A cluster collapse can happen. I mean, if you say India cluster collapses in Sena countries for often, the same is true for even England. I mean, they can lose 7 wickets for 70 runs.
Yeah,
it's not as if it is going to be a real big issue. I think it can happen. But 400 India, knowing their pedigree of against spin in the recent past, debatable.
Tripti Dimri, please read the question.
Hyderabad has always been a traditional batting pitch. After first session, I think we can see maximum of 15 days across 5 tests.
That means 3 days on average.
3 days on an average, which is such a big improvement.
I think it's just a matter of now the India bowling the right lengths, and then there is just one ball I remember. It was Duckett who got LBW to Ashwin. That was a well flighted, good pitched ball, perfect line and length.
Skidding straight on. Let me add, no spin, skidding straight on. The dip. Why is so effective against left-handers? Because of the late dip that he gets. And because it's drifting in with the angle and going straight on, that dip ensures, plump.
Siddharth says, have you recovered from early morning horror? No, I haven't. I didn't see the match. It started at 2 a.m. But I did see the scoreline in the morning.
4-2.
I know. I saw the scoreline in the morning, but I still haven't seen the highlights. But now I don't think I will. I won't even bother.
Yeah, I don't look at highlights for games.
But I think, I don't want to waste too much time on FC Barcelona because you guys aren't here for that. But all I will say is that as big a fan I am of Xavi, but I think he needs to go. Enough time has been given to him.
Yep.
See, that also is to tell you, don't be a fan of somebody just for the heck of it. There is a shelf life for everything. Xavi the player was great, But if he's not doing a job as coach, he needs to go. And same for players also.
Yep.
If one person is good in something, for everything you cannot defend, right?
Exactly. Be honest to them.
Be honest, exactly. Be honest.
They should actually ironically go and try and poach the man who's coaching Bilbao.
Oh,
Ernesto Valverde. Someone who has.
But I didn't like Valverde.
He was
You know who I
very
like?
unfairly treated by Barca.
No, but I'll tell you, I didn't like the way the club played under him. That's not. He was happy being 1-0 type of a coach. I didn't want that. Can I tell you who they were very unfair with? And I will blame Messi for it. It's Kike Setien. He only very little time they gave him, but I liked the way they were playing under him. But just because
they lost that one semi.
Yeah, and so many other people lost, but just because Messi didn't like him and they got rid of him. Again, too much star power given to a player. Didn't like it. They were unfair to him. Not saying bring him back, but just.
Yeah, they were definitely unfair.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anyway, that's another discussion. The match has started.
Yeah.
Let's do predictions this time. I got mine horribly wrong.
I was closest.
I got the wickets right,
was
but the runs were
closest.
wrong.
I was 80 for 3.
I said 90 for 5. Runs
Runs
wise,
wise is close.
Runs wise, you're close.
Yeah. Runs wise, I was horrible. I will say 199 for 5.
Huh?
That means 91 runs, 2 wickets.
No. So you said 190?
9 for 5.
199 for 5 at the end of this session. Okay.
210 for 6. I think these two will get a big partnership, but once one wicket falls, there'll be a bit of a collapse.
Those Stokes collapse, maybe. Maybe it can happen. I mean.
I'd go with 200 for 5.
200 for 5. Good one. I'll go 190. 190 for
6.
4 or 5. 5.
5.
Let's go 5.
So, in a way, we are giving the session to England, everyone.
Also.
Akash Bardar says 4 wickets are coming this season. This session, sorry. Tripti Dimri has gone 200 for 8. Very interesting predictions from all of you.
Piyush Nandri, England all out 189.
I hope that all our predictions are wrong.
All these 3, I think they have got. I think it could happen.
Yeah, it could definitely.
See, that's the thing with that.
Actually, I'll go 190 for 6. I'll go 190 for 6.
I hope all our predictions are wrong. Otherwise, the session would be England's name, right?
No, 3
One
down.
nine.
1
But
down
another.
for 6.
Oh, another
game
18.
on. I think even.
India 10 for 2 at the end of the session.
Shared session.
King D.
King D, yeah.
Oh,
King like
man.
shit.
He is very vicious.
Okay, see you. The game started. We want to watch.
Yep,
It's a
yep.
good test match that's happening in front of us. You guys take care. Bye bye. See you soon during tea time.
Tea time. Or innings.
Shreyansh has gone 176 all out.
Or an innings.
Quite
break also.
possible.
Anything can happen. Yeah.
Fifth straight ball.